ball straight down the field. It's going to be taken by Hayes. He muffs it, rolls back to the 5. Here comes West Washington. Finally, Hayes gets it back to the 5. Now the 10. Still on his feet, gets a block, and falls forward to about the 15-yard line. So what looked like a broken play and possibly some problems for Knightstown. Actually, not too bad, as they will start at about the 15, maybe the 15 and a half. And Ian Hayes having some problems hanging on to the football tonight.
Yes, he is. That's very unusual. Just like the muffed reception down here that we saw earlier, that I've never seen one go through Ian's hands, and I haven't seen that particular situation there happen either, where he couldn't pick up a squibbler off the ground.
Well, I hope you don't see it again. Knightstown will start from the 16. Scheinman under Quiz, and Ritchie will split wide to the left. Quick handoff. This time it goes to Hayes in the backfield. He turns the corner, stays on his feet, falls forward, and I'm not sure if he got back to the line of scrimmage or not. It's going to be very, very close. Good pursuit by West Washington by number 32, Clifton Dukes. And they will spot it right at the 15, so they will say he lost a yard. And Ian Hayes not having much luck on that run as he was going backwards. So Knightstown opens the third quarter on a negative number as they lose one. 2nd and 11 for Knightstown. The clock just underway, showing 11:15 and counting. 7-0 Panthers. Again, Ritchie will split wide to the right. Scheinman on a straight drop back, throws deep, and he underthrows Craig Ritchie, and there was a mix-up somewhere as Craig Ritchie wasn't even turned and looking, and Scheinman slaps his helmet as though it was his fault. So brings up a long 3rd and 11 for Knightstown. Ritchie was on a fly pattern straight down the field, never turned back to get the football, and it looked like Scheinman might have either thought that Ritchie was going to cut back to the outside or do a button hook, but Ritchie just kept on going.
I think he thought for sure that Craig was going to cut because that's where the pass went, but Craig was flying up the right side of the field out there.
And this is what Coach Willard didn't want, is 3rd and long, because everybody in the stands knows what you're going to do, but Knightstown sometimes has been deceitful. I formation for the Panthers. Scheinman will drop to the left. Here's the pressure. Throws one out in the flat. It's there by Hayes. He's got the first down all the way to... Stays on his feet across the 40. And again, he's across the 45 and goes out of bounds at the Knightstown 45-yard line. Nice play by Ian Hayes.
Great run by Ian Hayes as he just avoided a ton of tacklers from the West Washington Senators that time, bringing the ball right up by his own sideline and just dancing away out there and advancing that ball for the Knightstown team.
30-yard play from Scheinman to Ian Hayes as he came up the right side of the field, took the ball in the flat, did some tightrope walking along the out-of-bounds line, and got the ball all the way to the Knightstown 35-yard line, or check that, 45-yard line. Out of the slot formation now goes Hayes to the left. Scheinman on a quick pitch goes inside to Crawford, stays on his feet, continues to churn, and he gets near midfield. Nice hard running by Drew Crawford, brought down by Steve Reed for the Senators. So Crawford picks up 5 more, and that helps his total. Knightstown 2nd and 5 with 10:38 to play in the 3rd. Good running by Drew Crawford as he kept those legs churning. Crawford's got such a low center of gravity that he's very hard to bring down, and if you try to arm tackle him, it's not going to work.
No, you better get on his legs if you're going to stop him.
Ritchie splits wide to the left this time. Out of the slot to the left is Hayes. Here's an end-around fake to Ritchie. Goes to Ryan Johnson, and he's off to the races into the secondary, down to the West Washington 37-yard line.
Ryan Johnson carrying that ball over the left side of the Knightstown line, and that's the best we've seen him able to run this evening. 13-yard pickup for Ryan Johnson on that particular carry, and the ball is at the 40-yard line of the Washington Senators.
And that time it looked like Ryan Johnson was back to his old self as he just continued to run and put the burst of speed around the left side. Nice run by Johnson. He'll stay in the game along with Crawford as Hayes and Ritchie will split to the right side this time. Hayes in a slot formation out of the eye. Quiz over the football. Second man through it goes to Johnson. He's hit in the backfield, and he might have fallen forward for a yard. Grab on the play by Victor Campbell from behind on Johnson, and now Joe Quiz is down, very slow getting up. And looks like Quiz is okay, a little bit gimpy, might have had the wind knocked out of him. And they're checking with him. Looks like he's going to be okay, so they will stay with Quiz at center. They give Johnson 1 yard on the play. Got that play clock on the tick down to 20 now as the Knightstown unit coming back up to the ball. 2nd and 9 for the Panthers. Out of the backfield come Johnson and Crawford. Once again, Hayes will split to the right side. Wide out is Ritchie, also to the right. Inside handoff goes to Crawford, reverse field, and stays on his feet, falls across the 40 to the 37. pickup of 6 for Drew Crawford.
9:01 left, or 9 minutes left to play here in this third quarter, and Knightstown up 7-0, and Drew Crawford picking up some very valuable yardage there as we are facing a 3rd and 5 situation here, and we are into the 35-yard line of the Washington Senators.
Crawford starting to run the ball a little bit more with reckless abandon, and Drew Crawford and Ryan Johnson teaming up to basically gather most of the yards that Knightstown has got. Now we've got a full house backfield. The up back is Hayes. He gets the football, goes around the left side, got some blocking and some running room, stays on his feet, breaks a tackle, and he's into the clear. Knightstown's going to score. Ian Hayes is going to score from 35 yards out. Touchdown, Knightstown.
Great run by Ian Hayes as he slipped the tackle trying to be made by Adam Cummins out there. Adam Cummins had him around the waist, went down to the legs, and somehow Ian slipped out of that, and Cummins just devastated, and rightfully so. He was down on his knees over at about the 20, just watching Ian Hayes run in there and just shaking his head like, man, I had him and I couldn't get him.
Ian Hayes very, very elusive, as he is very, very hard to break down. He's got a low center of gravity like Crawford, and sometimes he hides the football from the defenders. Now Plank will try the point after to give Knightstown a 14-0 lead. Scheinman, the holder. Here's the snap. It's down, and the kick is up and splits the uprights. And Knightstown jumps out to a 14-0 lead as they score on their first possession of the third quarter. And this has been Knightstown's strong suit all season long. Third quarter of action has been the big one for the Panthers, and that time they showed exactly what they're made of as they took the football and marched it down the field as they started on their own 15. So an 85-yard drive for the Knightstown Panthers. And now the Knightstown faithful fans reward the Panthers with a standing ovation as they come back over to the sideline.
So the Knightstown Panthers here with 8:21 left to play in this third quarter score again against the Washington Senators, and a great run that time by Ian Hayes, and one man to bring him down, and it looked like he had him. This Cummins kid is 6'4", 285 pounds, and he was around Ian's waist, and Ian just kept wiggling and moving and moved right on down.
Well, Ian Hayes, after that long run, needs a little bit more of a rest, so he's going to come out, and Randy Gorman's going to come into the game to replace him. Also on the special teams, Adam Bonowitz will line up across the line, as well as number 17, Garrett Guillaume. So Knightstown special teams have done a good job on containment on the kickoff so far tonight.
Looks like we have Deaton back deep for the Senators, for the receivers.
Knightstown doing a body check to make sure they've got 11 people on the field.
Yeah, you don't want to make any mistakes at this point.
I only count 10. There's only 10 people on the field. Now there's 11 as Randy Gorman sneaks back onto the field. Knightstown a little bit disorganized with the kickoff.
Okay, I'll play.
So he sneaks in. Back to receive for West Washington is Deaton straight away, and this time Kyle Rhodes puts it right down the middle of the field. Two people connect, and finally coming up with the reception is number 17. Well, not 17. He's not even on the roster. It's number 11, Jeff Green. So Green on the return all the way back to the 35-yard line, and that's where the Senators will start.
Justin Chapman in on the stop for the Knightstown Panthers that time as he puts a big hit for the ball to be started by the Washington Senators at their 35-yard line with 8:15 left to play in this
three
third quarter.
Knightstown Panthers have 5 tackles. Richie, Crawford, and Chapman all have 5 tackles apiece tonight. 1st and 10 for the Senators from the 35. Knapp under the center, takes a snap. Second man through is Deaton. Deaton goes to the right side, and he's tripped up by Kyle Rhodes. First man to make the shoestring tackle, so give Kyle Rhodes his 5th tackle tonight. And Deaton picks up 4, 2nd and 6 for the Senators.
Well, Kyle Rhodes is really impressive to me this year. The way this kid's got into shape and really just playing with every bit of heart that a kid could. And 2 years ago, we saw this roly-poly kid come out for football, and we thought, well, will he ever make it? And man, has he made it.
Boyles, Deaton, and also Woods across the T formation for the Senators. Quick shot goes to Deaton. He turns to the right side, turns the corner, got some speed, got a blocker. Caught from behind by none other than Kyle Rhodes as he crossed the 50-yard line into Knightstown territory, out of bounds at about the 49, maybe the 48. And that's going to be enough for the West Washington first down.
Matthew Deaton, 5'11", 185 pounds, and a very, very good runner out there as he got the right side turned and was starting to turn on the jets right when Kyle Rhodes got to him.
Ball sitting squarely on the 50-yard line, and now West Washington starting to mount a drive of their own. Knightstown's defense looks a little bit scraggly as they have been able to stop the running game as Washington is pushing the ball right down the middle of the field. Here goes Deaton again to the right side, breaks through and gets into the secondary, stopped by Ritchie, also Ian Hayes, and Deaton across the center of the line very, very quickly, and now Drew Crawford's down slow getting up.
Well, the running backs for the Washington Senators can really get under a burst of speed in a hurry, and they're hitting that line so quick that they're into the secondary before we know it.
Picks up 6 yards on the play. 2nd and 4 for the Senators. 7:08 to play in the third quarter. 14-0 Knightstown. And out of the T formation again go the Senators. And the first man through is Deaton. He is hit at the line of scrimmage, falls forward, picks up 2 more. And the first man to make contact for Knightstown, number 75, Jimmy Carmichael.
Also in on the stop that time for Knightstown, Joe Quigg.
Joe Quigg still a little bit gimpy. That time Carmichael had to help him up. And into the game, number 65 for Knightstown, Nick Roush will come in. And sitting down will be Adam Bonowitz.
Getting a little bit more size out there as we try to stop this advancing run by the Senators.
Big play for Knightstown, facing a 3rd and 1 against West Washington. Knapp under the center, takes the snap. Big fullback is Woods. He's got the first down. The drive continues.
This kid Woods is a big boy, but let me tell you, he came to play football this evening, as he's done quite a bit of the picking up of first downs out there for the Senators this evening.
Well, West Washington doing what they've done all season long, and that's been a very, very dominant running game. And they are starting to flex those running muscles right here in the early going of the third quarter. Clock down to 6:11 and ticking. And I'd say out of 95% of the play tonight that Washington has lined up in a T formation, and they do it once again as Woods gets the call and breaks into the backfield. He's tripped up and falls forward and finally is taken down at the Knightstown 35 by number 42, Ben Brooks.
Well, Tim Woods at 5'11 and 220 out there is getting a lot of calls this evening to carry that football, and he's doing just that, picking up the short yardage that it takes to get that ball advanced far enough each time for the first down for the Senators.
2nd and 6 now for West Washington on the Knightstown 35.
5:31 left to play here.
Knapp awaits the snap, gets to Deaton. He goes around the right side. He's hit in the backfield by Kyle Rhodes, and Rhodes hangs on until some help arrives. And Deaton might have got another yard, so it brings up a 3rd and a long 4.
Kyle Rhodes in there on those shins and feet tonight, very quick on the defensive move.
You know, Tim Woods, the fullback for West Washington, has gained 924 yards this season, and he is averaging 6 yards per carry, and that holds true tonight.
Well, it absolutely does. This kid is a good running back.
3rd and 4 for the Senators. Here comes Knightstown's pressure. Deaton on a fly to the right side. Flags also fly in the backfield. That's going to be a motion penalty against West Washington. This one's going to go back that way, as West Washington got nailed by a motion penalty, and I believe it was one of the backs. It looked like it could have been Voiles on the right side. Couldn't tell because of the T formation, because 2 backs moved at the same time, but we're going to get the official call very shortly from the official. And if that was the call, it was a pretty weak one because they didn't even show the stand. Now they're saying no flag. No flag, so first down, the play will stand, I guess. So they say no flag, they pick it up, and that gives West Washington their first down. Now the ball on the Knightstown 28-yard line. So back up to the line of scrimmage once again, number 10, Andrew Knapp, as he's driving the Senators down the field. Delayed handoff, it goes to Deaton, and he is caught at the line of scrimmage. He might have got one. First man there, number 75, Jim Carmichael. And Jimmy Carmichael just bumped up to number 55, Nick Elgin, the 6'4", 330-pound center. And Carmichael, not small by any standards. Carmichael stands 6', 195, but he was basically the lunar eclipse when he got next to Nick Elgin.
Yes, he was. He put the stop on him right then.
Knightstown's defense being tested. As they say, no gain on the play, 2nd and 10. Senators with the ball on the Knightstown 27. Knapp on a delayed handoff. Once again, they go to the fullback, and Woods gets out to near the 25-yard line.
Nice hands that time by Knapp. He's got the ability to fake that football to where it looks like he's still got it after he's made that handoff.
Nice play faking by Andrew Knapp, taking the snaps, what they set up here in the box, so that's what we'll use. Kind of corny, but if it works, use it, huh?
3:36 left to play in this third quarter. Knightstown up 14-0.
And the Senators are driving the ball, trying to get their first score of the night, just inside the 25 at the 24.5. West Washington out of the tee once again. Knapp awaits the center, takes the snap, delayed handoff, it goes to Wood, and he runs into a brick wall that time. He might have got a yard and a half. And that's going to bring up a 4th down and 5 now for West Washington, and without a doubt they're going to go for it. They have nothing to lose in Knightstown territory, and the ball sitting very, very close to the 22-yard line. 4th and 5 for the Senators. Knightstown not even going to go back into a punt formation as far as receiving because they don't anticipate West Washington to punt. And that's exactly what's going to happen. This could be a big, big play in the ball game. 4th and 5 for West Washington. Knightstown's going to have to come up big. Snap up to the line of scrimmage. Knightstown jumps off sides, and that's going to bring up a 4th and 1 as Jason Chapman jumped too soon and offsides Knightstown, and that's going to make it very, very close to a first down if it doesn't give it to them.
Well, it's going to be very close there as they start to mark the ball off, and good anticipation there by the Washington Senators, as they probably knew that the Knightstown defensive unit would be in an edge-type situation where they would be wanting to go for it.
Well, I just saw something that I don't like. The official went over to where the ball was spotted from the yard marker and marked off 5 yards, and when he did, he actually took an extra step, which put the ball up to the line marker, which made it a very, very close measurement. That's why they're going to bring the chains out now and measure, and it's going to be very close. First down, nope, they're going to say 4th down by just a couple of inches, so it's going to be less than a yard for West Washington. And in a play like this, care to take odds who's going to get the call?
Well, I would imagine that it would be Tim Woods, perhaps.
You think?
I think so.
Oh, you're on it tonight. That second play of food really did you well.
The way Tim Woods was playing out, well, it was better than the peanut butter that I got.
All right, 4th and 1 for West Washington. Knapp under center. Knightstown on the line, poised. Knapp keeps it, and he has hit the line of scrimmage, and second effort, I think he got it.
Well,
second effort, I think he got it because he did continue to churn. Knightstown stopped him on the first attempt, but Knapp gets over and has enough for the West Washington first down, so the drive will continue for the Senators.
So with a 2:24 mark here in this third quarter of action, Knightstown is up 14-0, but those Washington Senators are really marching that ball down the field at the moment.
Third quarter plays really come and gone fairly quickly. 2:24 and counting. And Knightstown on the defensive side of things, watching as the Senators are pushing the ball right down the field. Here's a snap. It goes to Deaton on the right side. He bursts into the secondary and finally is tripped up.
Ooh, very close to going right on down the field there and getting a touchdown that time.
No doubt. Ian Hayes made a saving tackle as Deaton was off to the races, and they will spot the ball now down at the Knightstown just over the 10 at almost the 11-yard line, so it's almost, they can still get a first down here inside the 10.
1:44 and counting on that clock as the Washington Senators keep bouncing it down the field.
Senior Andrew Knapp under the center takes a snap. Second man through is Wood. He's got it. He plows across the 10 down to about the 8-yard line. And you're not going to stop him when he gets a full head of steam.
No, you're not, because it doesn't take Tim, even though he's 5'11 and 220, let me tell you, with a very few steps, he's up to full speed, and with that type of weight going into that line, he's going to fall forward for at least 2 to 3 yards.
Well, Knightstown stopped him down here at the end of the first half, but they haven't had much luck here in the third quarter as we're down to 1:10 to play. West Washington threatening as out of the T formation once again comes the Senators. Second man through is Deaton. This time he is hit at the line of scrimmage, and Knightstown goes for a strip, and Carmichael and Crawford almost had the football out of Deaton's hands, but he continues to fall forward for a couple of more yards. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 2, and the ball going to be spotted now on about the 8-yard line, so it looks like Knightstown going to have to dig in and try to stop this forward momentum. From the 8, they have to get to about the 6, and they can pick up a first down. Big play right here. It's a 4th and 2. Knightstown's got to watch Woods coming out of the backfield. He gets the call, and no, good handoff. It goes to the right side on a misdirection handoff. It goes to Deaton, and Deaton all the way down near the 5-yard line. Plenty of room for the first down, so the drive will continue. First and goal, Senators.
18 seconds left to play in this third quarter of action as Knightstown still up 14-0.
Won't do us much good to run this one out because we've got another one to play, won't we?
That's right.
Hopefully, if it were number 4, it'd be good. This would be a good thing, a Martha Stewart thing. Clock starts now down to 5. West Washington's last play of the third quarter. Woods gets the call, and he is racked up at the line of scrimmage this time, and that time Knightstown's defense flexes that web and stops him, he might have got a yard, and that's going to wrap up quarter number 3. So 3 quarters are in the book. Knightstown on top, 14-0.
We were just inside the 4-yard line, calling the signals dead on straight ahead, coming with the ball around the right side and into the end zone is Deaton for the Washington Senators. So with a 4-yard run, Matthew Deaton, a 5'11", 185-pound junior, takes it in for the Washington Senators with only 4 seconds of play running off the clock.
Well, that burned a lot of time, didn't it?
Well, it certainly didn't take long for him to get in there. 11:56 left to play here in this fourth quarter. Knightstown up 14-6 and getting ready for the extra point situation now. The Washington Senators getting set up, and they're going for 2 as they are working out of the... Deaton goes to quarterback. Now splits wide left now as we've got one set back in the running position. Deaton coming around on the option play, pitches out to Woods, and Woods is in for the 2-point conversion. So, after a 4-yard run, in on the extra point conversion for 2 is Tim Woods for the Washington Senators.
Well, that's a good heads-up play by Coach Troy Pritchett, because now, should West Washington score again, that's going to give them a 1-point advantage over Knightstown. So Knightstown lead cut more than in half. They are on top 14-8. But now they've got to get an insurance touchdown here, because West Washington seems to have picked up the momentum, and without a doubt it has swung, if not even, back to West Washington.
Well, it certainly has, and that is a great call by the West Washington coach, Troy Pritchett, as he really gets his team set into a good position, even though they are behind at the moment.
You know, it looks like Knightstown, first time I've seen them kind of hang their head just a little bit. That was not a defensive stand by Knightstown, as they had the quarterback in sight. Kyle Rhodes planted him, but on a quarterback option, they just couldn't corral or catch up with Mr. Wood, so he gets the 2-point conversion. 14-8, Knightstown on top. And this one's everything that we thought it would be. Knightstown giving it all they've got, as are the Senators. So the Senators are going to kick off from the 40. Knightstown's going to be in a receiving mode with Richie and also Ian Hayes. And doing the kicking for West Washington, number 51, Andy Rippey.
So Andy Rippey getting back and getting set as we have got our 2 speedsters set deep, waiting for this kick. As the Knightstown coaching staff now talking with their players on the sidelines. A terrific onside kick potential here, but no, it is kicked away and kicked very long. And the ball is going long and deep, and we are going to have to down the ball, it looks like, as a touchback. So very close to being right on the 1st or 2nd yard line. The ball does go into the end zone.
I'm glad Ian Hayes had to make that call, because that was too close. He was kind of blowing and wishing that ball to go into the touchdown or as a touchback, and it did. So Knightstown will start on their own 20-yard line. Clock just a tick under 11:57 to play, and Knightstown needs to have ball control here, and they need to pick up a couple of first downs and get this drive in motion.
Well, they're going to have to really do a lot of time eating up here on this particular clock and on this drive, I think, to sustain in this football game. As Eric Scheinman calling the signals, now hands off to Hayes coming around the left side. Hayes picking and finding his way upfield, standing and running, getting the ball up to the 36-yard line. He is finally brought down out there by Jeff Green, as Hayes running off the left side with blocking from the other running back, picks up the first down for the Panthers on a 15-yard run that time. So Ian Hayes doing his job out there and setting the tone maybe for a drive here for Knightstown.
A couple of those would be nice.
Eric Scheinman now has his signals and is ready to go. We have the dual setback to the left, and the handoff this time coming to Drew Crawford coming around the left side. Drew stutter steps, breaks 2 tackles, and is off to the races. Drew Crawford, unless he is caught, and it looks like he might be from behind, and he is. A great, great stop by Steve Reed out there, a junior for the West Washington Senators, 5'9", 165 pounds, brings down Drew Crawford, but not until Drew has picked up 50 yards on a great run around the left side.
Wow, way to go, Big Drew.
Steve Reed, this kid from West Washington, really a speedster out there, because we know Drew Crawford can move, and this kid got him from behind.
Sure did. Reed showed excellent speed, because Crawford's not slow. But what happened down here is West Washington thought that he was down at about the 35, and Crawford continued to churn, and next thing you know, he's all the way down to the Knightstown 20. So Reed caught him from behind, brings up a 1st and 10 for the Knightstown Panthers as Shyman's under center.
Shyman hands off to Johnson, trying to go over the right side, and Johnson brought down immediately by Steve Reed again. And I just found out why Mr. Reed caught Drew Crawford. He's the fastest man on their team.
Well, that would be obvious.
And
he showed the speed that time.
So getting in there on Ryan Johnson for a 2-yard loss that time. Again, Steve Reed, who really is doing a terrific job out there for the Washington Senators on the defensive end of the football. 10:32 left to play in this fourth quarter as Eric Shyman gets his team ready now for a 2nd and 12 situation here. Knightstown up 14-8 and sustaining a drive now that they need and need badly. Shyman looking to the left, throwing long, throwing deep. The ball is over to Craig Ritchie and is overthrown. So Eric Shyman just off a little bit this evening on his passing and just barely overthrew Craig Ritchie for a long, long pass play.
Now Knightstown is in that formidable 3rd and long. It's 3rd and 12. And Ritchie had a couple steps on the defender, but Eric Shyman just couldn't find the target as Ritchie was there. Shyman normally finding Craig Ritchie with relative consistency, but not that time.
10:17 left to play here in this fourth quarter of play as Knightstown again just up 14-8 on these Washington Senators, facing this 3rd and 12 situation. Eric Shyman getting the Knightstown troops set and calling a long signal count. There's a snap, a handoff coming out to Ian Hayes, coming around the left side, cutting, picking his way up, and makes a great play on the Washington Senators as he is finally brought down by Andy Rippey out there on a 12-yard pickup by Ian Hayes. Some of that slash running that we have seen out of Ryan Johnson boiling over there into Ian Hayes this time.
Ian Hayes is absolutely amazing how he can stay on his feet and slip tacklers. He had 6 guys around him, stayed on his feet, continued to churn, took it all the way down to the Knightstown 10, actually just before you, I guess it's just short of the 10, almost the 11, so Knightstown can actually pick up a 1st down and still get a 1st and goal.
9:50 and the clock running here in this fourth quarter. Knightstown up 14-8 as once again we get set here with Craig Ritchie calling timeout immediately as they come up to the line. Something is wrong out there, so it's going to be a Knightstown timeout. So we maybe better take a 30-second timeout ourselves. This is WKPW football.
Crawford.
Pitch out to Crawford going around the right side, and Drew Crawford is eaten up there right away by the Senators of Washington, but not until Drew picks up about 3 yards on the play out there. So Knightstown, with 9:25 in the clock counting, advances the ball to a point of about 3 yards out there on a nice run by Drew Crawford. Eric Shyman has been over to the bench now and is picking up the call, taking it back out to the Panthers as they await to make this next play. The ball is set on the right side of the field as the Knightstown Panthers are getting set in tight on a play. The ball is handed off to the second man through. He's coming wide around the left side, and it is Ian Hayes again on the carry, and Ian Hayes grabbed by the right leg, Craig Ritchie on the carry that time for a pickup of 2 yards out there as Craig Ritchie was grabbed high on the leg, and it looked like may have bent it back the wrong way on him, but I believe everything's okay as Ryan Johnson now trying to get back into the action a little bit out there, hobbling around as best he can on that left ankle of his. Eric Shyman now getting ready to bring the ball back up into play again as he moves his Knightstown offensive unit up to the line, running out of the power I. Ryan Johnson, the second man set up in that. He is a fake handoff to him, a pass into the end zone, and we have no reception. It looks like that the ball was not received. A nice pass out there from Eric Shyman to, I believe, Josh Plank, but Plank could not hang on to the ball.
Now he had it in his hands, and he just couldn't catch it. So now Knightstown may burn another timeout as Plank very upset at himself. And he had those gloves on, and maybe it's one of those times when those gloves should have been off. But Plank had it in his hands, just couldn't come down with it. So Knightstown's going to be faced with a tough call right here. 4th and 6 with 8:12 to play. And Shyman put the ball right on the money, just exactly where he had to have it.
Yes, it's like one of those old jokes. He hit him in a bad spot, right on the numbers. But Josh Plank could not hold on that time, as that would have been an instant 6 points out there for the Panthers.
Well, the ball sitting on the 6-yard line. If Josh Plank tries a field goal, it's not much more than a chip shot for an extra point. If you don't take the 3 points, you're in jeopardy of West Washington scoring and going up by a point, 15-14, should they convert on the point after. So I guess Coach Don Willard's going to show just how much confidence he's got in his defense right here if he goes for 4th and 6 and tries to score.
Well, I'll tell you what, Troy Pritchett really made a nice call out there for the Senators on that, going for the 2 extra points instead of the single. And so Knightstown now bringing the ball up. We're going to go for it as Eric Scheinman comes up on a 4th and goal situation, the split back situation as Hayes goes into the right. There's a snap. Scheinman looking, now maybe has to hold the ball, looking still, and he is run out of bounds at the 10-yard line. We have Eric Scheinman out bounds at the 10-yard line with Jeff Green in on the hustle for the defensive unit of the Washington Senators.
Good coverage by West Washington. Nobody open, so Scheinman had to tuck it under and run out of bounds. And now you're going to have to wonder, could Coach Willard have second-guessed himself, because that play obviously was not one that was even close to working. And Knightstown now is going to give the ball right back to West Washington on the 10-yard line, and with their momentum, they've had the swing here in the 4th quarter.
Well, they certainly have, this Knightstown unit trying to dig in and get set against the Washington Senators as Andy Knapp comes back and gives the handoff to Deaton out there, and he is hit by Kyle Rhodes after picking up about 2.5, 3 yards on the play. 7:54 left to play in this 4th quarter. That's Kyle Rhodes' 7th tackle this evening. Knightstown up 14-8, and the Senators facing a 2nd and 8 situation, and the ball is at about the 15-yard line, I think, of the Senators, or very close there, about 12, 13-yard line possibly. Knightstown trying to make an encouragement there. Beaten on the handoff, and he is literally crunched out there by the Knightstown defensive unit. Craig Ritchie in on the stop and hitting big out there on Beaton as he tries to bring the ball around the right side. Clock running now with 7:15. A very important factor in this game now will be this clock. A 2-yard pickup out there, a 3rd and 5 situation of facing the Senators now, and the clock down to a 7-minute situation with 14-8 to score. Knightstown up.
Big play for Knightstown right here. Defense needs to stop this drive and get the football back and maintain and control that clock.
So Andy Knapp calling the signals again for the Senators as Knightstown defensive unit digs in, coming around and handing the ball off to Deaton as he carries over the right side and picks up the first down for the Senators. Troy Pritchett over there really happy on the pickup of his team's first down that time.
Now we can see why this running game has really kicked into high gear for West Washington. They are just blowing Knightstown off the line of scrimmage, where Knightstown was holding its own in the first 3 quarters. It's not the case here in quarter number 4. And that call in the 4th and 6, it may come back to haunt Knightstown.
Could very well. 6:30 left to play in this 4th quarter. Knightstown at 14-0. 1st and 10 for the Senators from the 22, 23-yard line. Deaton on the carry again, trying to come around the right side, and he is hit. And Crawford in on the stop that time for the Knightstown Panthers as Deaton running the ball around the right side picks up about 2 yards on the play. A 2nd and 8 situation here. Crawford's 6th tackle on the evening. The clock still ticking with 6 minutes left to play now, and Knightstown up 14-8. Very important, that clock.
It's nail-biting time. I'm nervous as a cat on a tin roof.
He looks like he's sitting around that fudge plate on the way down here. Andy Knapp now calling those signals again out there for the Senators as they really start to play with Woods going over the left side, spinning and churning, and finally being brought down. Out there it looked like Landon Collop in on the stop that time, along with Ben Brooks, and the ball is at the 29-yard line, a 3rd and 2 situation facing the Senators now with a 5:25 time on that clock.
Well, here's ground control and clock control. Senators can march this thing down to get a score, and this one could be history.
Well, it very well could be, as Andy Knapp again calling the signals. The ball right at the center position in the field as Deaton on the carry, and he is wrapped up and brought down for a loss by Kyle Rhodes. Kyle Rhodes' 8th tackle on the evening as he just comes busting through that line, and it is a 3-yard loss for the Senators as that run that time by Deaton did not transpire with 4:50 on the clock. A 4th and 4 situation as Knightstown up 14-8.
Knightstown's got a hold right here. This could be the difference in winning the ball game or losing the ball game. Out of the game comes John Carmack.
So the Knightstown team getting set up now for this big defensive play. Drew Crawford jumping up and down, waiting for that play to transpire. A pass play going out into the flat area, and it is a very, very bad pass. Was not able to be controlled out there by the Washington Senators. Back on the coverage for Knightstown was Ian Hayes and Adam Bonowitz.
Boy, I tell you what, if that's not a John Anderson song, somebody slap me.
Clifton Dukes out there trying to make the reception on the play. First looked over his left shoulder, then back over his right, and the ball was about 4 to 5 yards right in front of him, and I don't think he could pick it up in sight.
No, Dukes had the football. If he hadn't stumbled, he split the defense and had the two-step lead, and when he stumbled, that lost his momentum, and Knightstown takes over on the possession.
Knightstown at the 29-yard line with Eric Scheinman calling the signals, and we are 4:29, and the clock is ticking. Crawford on the carry coming around the left side. Lots of running room, and he is down to about the 15-yard line. So Drew Crawford on the carry for the Knightstown Panthers with 4:20 remaining on the clock. Knightstown at 14-8 and a first down situation. So Knightstown Panthers with 4:20 again left to play here, and deep into the territory of the Senators. The ball is at the 16-yard line of the Washington Senators, and a 1st and 10 situation facing this hand-clasped Knightstown offensive unit as they break from the huddle, come up to the line. Back in the backfield, we have Johnson and Hayes and Crawford in the center as they split and make sure their adjustments are right. The handoff is to the first man through, Ian Hayes, as he keeps digging, and looks like he's down near the 10, being brought down that time by Victor Campbell out there for the defensive unit. West Washington going to take a timeout at this moment. 3:46 left to play. Knightstown up 14-8.
Well, I guess it's not good to second-guess the coach, but I'll tell you what, that play really came back to almost haunt Knightstown. West Washington had all the momentum in the world, and if it hadn't been for Clifton Dukes stumbling on a 4th and 6 down here, he had that pass within reach, and he stumbled coming as he split the two defensive backs. So Knightstown takes over on the possession, and they've got the football, and it sits on the 11-yard line. They face a 2nd and 6. They can still pick up a first down without scoring.
Well, that stumble, too, was just enough to take him out of the pass play, and that ball was thrown on the money if the stumble hadn't occurred back there in the backfield where he did take it. And I'm telling you what, you talk about a difference foot makes. That's exactly what happened there.
That stumble caused him and took him out of his normal strides, and he was about a stride and a half away from the football because it was there, and it was way too close as Knightstown fans could all breathe again after the incompletion. But Knightstown's got to do a job of containing the football with 3:46 to play. Ball's on the 11-yard line.
So we've got Eric Scheinman once again. He has received his instructions from Coach Willard, and with 3:46 left to play, the Senators dig in on the defensive move as Scheinman hands off to Ryan Johnson as Johnson digs and kicks his way down deep into the territory of the Washington Senators, picking up a first down, and so we are at a 1st and goal situation, I believe, on the Washington Senators territory, as the ball is at about the 4-yard line of the Washington Senators. So Ryan Johnson picking up 7 yards that time on a left ankle that we know is really hurting this kid severely, as the clock is now down to 3:20 and a 1st and goal situation for the Panthers working out of the power tee. These kids know they have got a chance to put another score on the board. Drew Crawford going in for the touchdown for the Knightstown Panthers over the left-hand side. So a magical season here for these Knightstown Panthers, as once again I believe this sectional jitters has bitten both of these teams just a little bit in the seat of their pants, but the Knightstown Panthers able to pull together here with 3:12 left to go and go up 20 to 8 over the Washington Senators.
Well, they can pretty much solidify this game right here if Knightstown tacks on the extra point. I think that's what they're going to try to do is Plank and Scheinman will line up. He will plant and kick from about the 10. Josh with a 20-yard chip shot.
Josh Plank getting ready now with 3:12 left to play. The snap is down, and it is up, and I think it is good. So Knightstown, with 3:12 left to play in the 4th quarter of action here, go up 21 to 8 over the Washington Senators here at West Washington High School.
I'll tell you what, though, until that score, this game was pretty much in jeopardy as West Washington looked like they had swung the momentum back and was marching the ball down the field. And on that 4th and 6, they couldn't pick up the pass play. And Knightstown very, very fortunate to dodge that bullet. That's actually the 3rd bullet of the night they've dodged.
Well, it really is, and at the end of that 3rd quarter, the West Washington Senators were really moving the football well, and like you said, into that 4th quarter, and I thought it was going to go into a situation here where it was going to get real ugly for the Knightstown Panthers, but a few little miscues here and there, and Knightstown got right back in it and took the score to them. So once again, the Senators in trouble here with 3:12 left to play, and Knightstown up 21-8.
Well, that could be their season. Looking at Drew Crawford over here on the sidelines, he is spent. He is blowing and sucking wind like I've never seen him. In fact, he's near sickness right here. They may not see any more action tonight, but Knightstown looking like they may advance into the 2nd round of Sectional 38 if they can hang on to this 21-8 lead with 3 minutes and 12 seconds left, and the defense really has to clamp down now.
Kyle Rhodes getting ready to kick the football off with 3:12 left to play. We've got fog coming in here on the West Washington facility as Kyle is moving up to the ball, and there it goes on a squibbler through the front line. It's a fumble, and the recovery is made by the Washington Senators at the 37-yard line, so that's where they'll put the ball into action.
You know, I know that that's a play that they work on those side kicks, but the thing I don't understand is I would think you'd want to get the ball deeper down the field rather than to let somebody start at their 37 or 38-yard line. But again, I guess Coach Willard, I'm sure not going to second-guess a man that's been in the business 31 years. But Knightstown's going to have to play very, very tough right now as West Washington's going to come out and pull out all the stops.
Andy Knapp, I know he's would give anything to move this ball down and make a touchdown as the Senators are in a double tight end. Andy back to throw over to his left side, and it did not work. The ball was intended for Justin Metz again, and the pass was incomplete.
They tried the same play they did in the first half, and the pass was almost caught, but Metz couldn't hang on to it as he was there and tried to lateral the football back to a running Deaton, but he dropped the pass. So on the incompletion, 2nd and 10, clock stops at 3:04, and the fog is coming in very, very thick here at Senator Football Field, and you can't even see the high school anymore.
Well, if it keeps this up, I'm going to ride back with the sheriff to the hotel. I'm not going to take any chances, buddy. Andy Knapp getting ready now to try to set this team into motion again as he comes back, looks over to his left, attempts a pass, has to hold it back, makes the pass, and throws it behind Matthew Deaton. So the rush of the Knightstown Panther defense starting to get to the Washington Senators now.
Knightstown can smell this victory. They are 3 minutes away from a 10-0 record and advancing into the 2nd round of Sectional 38 play, and they will face the winner of either Edinburgh or South Decatur, most likely South Decatur.
Well, those of you who have seen the Knightstown Panthers play before and couldn't make this trip, they're playing exactly like we've seen them play all season. They're playing the team that's out on the field and not the next team that they're thinking about facing, and they're playing them very hard as Andy Knapp puts the ball into play, coming around the right side, looking for a pass over the right side, and he short-armed the pass to Justin Metz again, and it was underthrown.
That time he was about 3 yards short of Metz. Just didn't have enough on the pass, and Knapp having good pressure applied by the Knightstown defensive end in both Ben Brooks and Josh Plank, in the backfield, and they just couldn't muster anything on the throw, trying to throw off with the run. Knightstown doing a good job, so it's 4th and 10, and this is the ball game right here unless West Washington punches this thing across for a first down. They've got to get to the 47, and without this ball game's in the bag.
Well, it absolutely is, and the West Washington unit trying to really advance it if they can. Andy Knapp calling the signals again as he falls back, looks to pass dead over center, throws that ball, and he's got a complete pass out there to Deaton. Bringing him down is Craig Ritchie, and the ball is at the 47-yard line of Knightstown. An 18-yard gain out there from Knapp to Deaton, and Craig Ritchie in immediately on the stop, but a very, very nice pass play by Knapp as the poise is still there for that young man.
Well, it's going to be the no huddle for West Washington as they are not about to quit.
No, they're trying to get this ball down in deep into Knightstown territory. 2:48 left to play in the 4th quarter. A pass out to Metz into the flat, and it is complete, and he is caught from behind and finally hauled down out there. I'm trying to see who made that tackle. They're so far away that, and the fog is starting to get to us. Landon Collop in on the stop for the Knightstown Panthers as Collop makes his 2nd tackle on the evening and brings down Metz, but not before a pickup of 6 yards and a second and fourth situation facing these Senators.
Knightstown calls a timeout to stop the clock and kind of get a breather here and try to suck some wind. And Knightstown again giving up some big plays on a 4th and 8. They hit a pass play that goes for a first down, and Knightstown's got to contain the pass. As they get farther and farther into the tournament, you're eventually going to run into a team that is a good passing team, and these soft little 6, 8, 10 yards, that time it was a flare pass to the wide receiver. He took a back step, took the pass, and Knightstown was right there, but not before he picked up 6 yards.
We just do not get in their faces enough, and is my belief on the receivers for the opposition.
Well, I think what Knightstown is afraid of is if they crowd the receiver, they'll get burned long. It's what's going to happen.
Well, that very well could be, as Andy Knapp again gets his troops set at possibly the 42-3-yard line. Knapp throwing deep, down long, and the ball is incomplete. Great coverage down there by Adam Bonowitz, as Adam jumps high into the air to get a hand partially on the ball and causing the ball to be deflected. The intended receiver down there was Steve Reed, the young man who can really fly for the Senators, but he couldn't make the
4th and 8. They hit a pass play that goes for a first down, and Knightstown's got to contain the pass. As they get farther and farther into the tournament, you're eventually going to run into a team that is a good passing team, and these soft little 6, 8, 10 yards, that time it was a flare pass to the wide receiver. He took a back step, took the pass, and Knightstown was right there, but not before he picked up 6 yards.
We just do not get in their faces enough, and is my belief on the receivers for the opposition.
Well, I think what Knightstown is afraid of is if they crowd the receiver, they'll get burned long. It's what's going to happen.
Well, that very well could be, as Andy Knapp again gets his troops set at possibly the 42-3-yard line. Knapp throwing deep, down long, and the ball is incomplete. Great coverage down there by Adam Bonowitz, as Adam jumps high into the air to get a hand partially on the ball and causing the ball to be deflected. The intended receiver down there was Steve Reed, the young man who can really fly for the Senators, but he couldn't make the